Hello, all of you, yet again. Once again, I am here. Last time I explained how to make a little helper, and I said in that video I would do more world building and videos about individual characters later. This is later the same day. I'm no longer on a walk, I'm in my house, and I'm currently doing a house chore while I'm recording this, just to keep myself from being bored. I kind of have ADHD a little bit. But that's neither here nor there. Also, the last video, I kept calling him Professor Mortis. It's Mortimer. I forgot my own character's name. I was thinking of that game, Mortis. For some reason, that game was just in my mind. I may just start calling him Mort for short, but Mortimer is he would prefer you call him Mortimer or Professor, because he's that kind of guy. But let me tell you about his character, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but hopefully not too long. So basically, good old Morty here. In the world he was born in, humans and fairy tale creatures, mythological creatures, whatever you want to call them, supernatural creatures, coexist. Before I tell you what his finalized story is, I'm going to give you a previous version that I've scrapped. So basically, he was supposed to be part, how do you call them, fins? I don't remember how to pronounce the names. It's what those goat people are, like in Narnia. Goat lower half, goat horns on the head, rest human. He's one of those, mixed with a Wendigo. I'm just going to call them Wendies from now on, because I feel if you say their name too often, they'll be attracted to you. So I wasn't going to use that. That would explain why he has a deer skull for a head, because they kind of have those too, if you remember actual mythology. But if you're going off that video game from, I think, 10 years ago now, then they just look like weird humans. But in the original mythology they come from, if you pay attention to indigenous American mythology, they have deer skulls. But a friend of mine said that would be culture appropriation, and that's bad, so I decided to change the story. And also, I don't know how open to relationships Wendies are. I don't think they are. I think they're just feral animals. But maybe they could, They were once people, so maybe they still got some human in them left. So they could, fall in love and mate and have a kid. I don't know. It's a stretch, so maybe it's a good thing I changed the backstory. So here's what I have now. Mort here was born cursed. It all started when a woman and a deer man fell in love. But in the kingdom they come from, hopefully that timer I had set up didn't mess up anything. In the kingdom they come from, that's illegal. Or at least it wasn't at first. This woman, her sister, was a queen who was married against her will. Arranged marriages, they happen, it sucks. So she was stuck in an unhappy relationship. And seeing her sister in a happy relationship with a non-human made her jealous. But because she's queen and can, do whatever she wants with the laws, and some people around there did have a stigma against anything not human, so she got away with this. What she did was made it illegal, very much so illegal, to be in a relationship with a fairy tale creature, just to ruin her sister's life out of jealousy. But the sister and the deer man didn't stop. They kept going in secret. But once it was discovered, the sister thought about just executing them both, but she thought of something worse. She put a curse on the baby in the womb. Now, magic curses like that are also illegal, but when you're in power, especially back then, you can get away with more. The laws are just a suggestion to you. You're above the law, which is why back then sucks. And today kind of still sucks because that is still true to a certain extent. Sadly, especially depending on where you are in the world. But I'm not going to focus on that. She cursed the baby, waited for it to be born. And then, after it was born with a deer skull for a head, and a dark aura around it, basically made a little evil child. Then she put her sister and the father in prison. Instead of just killing them, just let them slowly wither away. Very twisted and evil. So you can kind of feel bad for Morty here. He kind of has a sad backstory, but he grows up to be something bad. Partially because of how he grew up, and partially because of the evil aura cursed to him when he was in the womb. He could have been an anti-hero. He had a dark aura, but that doesn't mean he could have been bad. He just wouldn't have been great. But because of the way he grew up, he turned out a little psycho. He was made fun of in school for being a freak with a deer skull for a head, not a deer head. And no one really liked him. He couldn't get anyone to like him, really. He's kind of a narcissist, a sociopath, a little bit of a psychopath, and a liar. A pathological liar. He'd always make some stuff up just so others would start respecting him. But it would backfire when it would get called out as a lie, and then everyone would hate him more. So it backfired. But he kept trying, because that's just how he was. He's just that kind of guy. Didn't know when to quit. His first love when he was a teenager. Let's just say she wasn't really feeling it back, and he wouldn't leave her alone. He kept going and going and going. Wouldn't stop bothering her. One day, she just ended it. She took herself out to get away from him, which only drove him more insane. Losing the woman he loved. And it was his fault, but he always found a way to blame others. The next woman he fell in love with, she rejected him and rejected him and rejected him till he finally had enough and just killed her himself. And lastly, the third and final woman he ever fell in love with, the one that actually loved him back and cared, she herself was murdered. She was a brave warrior. This is the woman he modeled his daughter, the first little helper, after. It would have been their daughter if she lived and didn't die in battle. But she did. What battle, what war, that'll be established later. Right now, all that's important is she died. So all that was not good. By the time he got into his college years, needless to say, his mental state, his delusions, his everything were sky high at this point. And because he never got anywhere in life, due to a lot of things, his mental ability, stigma about non-humans around the area, and all this and that, he didn't get to become a professor. Not like a science teacher professor, because science isn't really, it exists in this world, but it's very much so an underground thing. Magic is the main thing in this world. And he wanted to be a magic professor, kind of like the teachers at Harry Potter. But he never got his license, because he could never really make it into college. So he did the illegal thing and forged a document. He forged this what's it called? Diploma. That's the word. I'm tired. He forged the diploma and started teaching anyway. And in this world, a lot of certain spells are illegal, such as mind control, brainwashing, love spells, any spell to resurrect someone from the dead, because they usually go wrong. And creating life from scratch is considered bad because religious reasons. More on that when I do a world building video. And you did some awful things. Very much so awful things. Behind the scenes. But it all came back to him. He was trying to resurrect the third woman he ever fell in love with, after the fourth woman, who he met while he was pretending to be a college professor. He couldn't get her to love him, but instead of killing her, he decided to do a love spell, a love potion. But someone found that suspicious, that she went from not wanting anything to do with him to all over him, so they reported it. There was an investigation and they found him. They found out that he love spelled her. They broke the spell on her. She gave him a restraining order. And now he's gonna be on trial because during that investigation they found out about the other things he was trying to do. Like he was trying to resurrect his third love, the one that actually did care about him. And all the other stuff that he did. But luckily, his lawyer is good. You know, kind of like the guy who got OJ off. Kind of good. And, well, instead of getting him put to prison or put to death, he got him a lighter sentence of not guilty by reason of insanity, which is not wrong. He is insane, but, like, he still kind of knew somewhat what he was doing, but he got off. And now he's in a mental asylum, slowly plotting his escape and his revenge. He wants to seek vengeance on his queen aunt, who ruined his life, took his mom and dad away, cursed him to begin with. Then he wants to resurrect his love, so they can be together forever. And here's something even worse, more shade to throw at that queen. There was a war at the time, and that queen is the one that drafted his love. Specifically, went out of her way to draft his love. Well, they were going to do it anyway, because she was a strong warrior for a female. But she had eyes on her, because she just wanted to make that boy suffer. Now, where did the little helpers come in? I haven't decided. Did he make them before he went to the insane asylum? Or after? I'm still deciding when he made them. But he made them, and now they're secretly trying to help him escape. And during some of the escape attempts, the little helpers end up getting, put in the asylum themselves as patients. Because every single one of them has a disorder. So they do belong in there as well. The story will eventually get to the point where he does make his escape, and he's about to, basically take over the world. He eventually does get his revenge and overthrows the queen, and then takes over the land himself, and is just an evil. The story will end with his own little helpers betraying him because of the way he's mistreated them the whole time he's made them exist. Especially holding out on the fact that they aren't real people and they're just living dolls. The fact that he kept that a secret felt like they weren't happy about it, to say the least. They definitely were not happy about it. And that's the story of Mortimer. Master of the dark arts, the dark magic, evil. When I say he did horrible things in dark magic that's illegal in the kingdom he comes from, you can imagine some dark stuff. Like children, taking children, sacrifices. Yeah, I don't need to go into any more detail. You can just, I can just let your imagination go wild. And that's the story of Mortimer. Well, let me know what you guys think. Next is going to be the Deer Girl, which I need to remember how to pronounce her name so I can make a video on her. That being said, I'll see you guys next time.